Captain Jake Morrison stood in the big hall where all the alien leaders met. The room was huge and filled with strange creatures from many worlds. Some looked like giant snakes. Others had crystal skin that glowed. Some had too many arms or eyes, in weird places. All of them were angry at humans today. "The humans break our rules again," said the snake-like alien named Counselor Zethkai. His long body moved in angry waves as he spoke. "They went to the sick world of Kethvar 7. They gave medicine to the people there. This is against our laws." Jake kept his face blank. He had heard this same talk many times before. The aliens always said humans did bad things when they helped people. But Jake knew the truth. Without human medicine, everyone on Kethvar 7 would have died from the Red Plague. Ambassador Lisa Chang sat at the human table. She was tired of these meetings. For 3 years, she had come here to defend what humans did. The aliens always found fault with human actions. When humans saved lives, the aliens said it was interference. When humans brought food to hungry worlds, the aliens said it hurt their culture. When humans stopped pirates from robbing trade ships, the aliens said humans were too violent. "The humans think they know better than everyone," said another alien. This one looked like a walking tree with blue leaves. "They come to our worlds without asking. They change things. They do not respect our ways." Lisa stood up to speak. "We only helped sick people. The plague was killing thousands every day. Our doctors had the cure. Were we supposed to let them all die?" "Yes," said the crystal alien whose body flashed red when he was mad. "Death is natural. Disease is natural. You cannot stop every bad thing that happens." Jake felt sick hearing this. These aliens cared more about their stupid rules than about saving lives. Behind him sat Dr. Sam Rodriguez, who had led the medical team to Kethvar 7. Sam had worked for 3 weeks without sleep to save those people. The aliens called this wrong. "The humans are dangerous," said Counselor Zethkai. "They spread their ideas everywhere. They make other species depend on them. This is not good for anyone." The meeting went on for hours. One by one, the alien counselors spoke against humans. They listed every time humans had helped someone in the past year. They made it sound like crimes. The Vorlan delegate, a creature with purple fur and 6 eyes, read from a long list. "The humans built schools on 12 worlds. They taught math and science to children. This spreads human culture and hurts local traditions." The Nexari representative, whose crystal body pulsed with different colors, added more complaints. "Human engineers fixed our broken power stations. They did this without asking permission from this council. This violates the Sovereign Technology Act." Jake wanted to laugh at how crazy this was. The Nexari homeworld would be dark and cold without human help. Their own engineers could not fix the old machines, but now they complained about being saved. More aliens spoke. Each one found new ways to blame humans for helping people. The fish-like Aquarian delegate said humans polluted their oceans by cleaning up oil spills. The rock people from Granite Prime said humans weakened their culture by teaching their children to read. Lisa tried to defend human actions, but the aliens would not listen. They had already made up their minds. At the end of the meeting, they passed new rules. Humans could not land on alien worlds without special permission. Humans could not give medical help without forms signed by 5 different councils. Human trade ships could only carry approved goods to approved places. "These new laws will start right away," said the council leader, a tall, gray alien with no hair. "Any human who breaks these rules will be arrested and sent to prison." Jake had heard enough. He stood up slowly and looked at all the alien faces around him. Some looked happy, others looked worried. A few seemed sad but did not speak up. "Is that all?" Jake asked in a calm voice. "Yes, Captain Morrison," said the council leader. "You may go." Jake nodded once. He turned and walked toward the exit. Lisa and Sam followed him. As they reached the big doors, Jake stopped and turned around one last time. "You will not see us again," he said quietly. The aliens did not understand what he meant. They thought he was just mad about the new rules. They did not know that deep in the Sol system, Admiral Peter Hayes was already reading the secret orders. Every human ship, every human base, every human worker would leave alien space forever. The message had been sent that morning to all human colonies and stations. Protocol 7 was now active. Humans were going home. Jake walked out of the council. Holland never looked back. In 3 months, the aliens would start to understand what they had done. In 6 months, they would panic. In 1 year, they would beg humans to come back. But by then, it would be too late. Humans were done being treated like criminals for saving lives. The galaxy wanted them gone, so they would be gone. Forever. The quiet exodus had already begun. Commander Maria Santos walked through the empty halls of Outpost Gamma 7. 3 months ago, this place had been full of life. Human scientists worked in the labs, engineers fixed broken equipment, doctors treated sick aliens who came from nearby worlds. Now the halls were quiet except for the sound of her boots. "Pack everything," Maria told her team. "We leave nothing behind that might help them." The outpost sat on the edge of a beautiful nebula. From the main window, Maria could see the purple and gold clouds of space dust that had fascinated human scientists for 8 years. They had learned so much here about how stars were born. Now that knowledge would leave with them. Dr. Tony Silva sealed the last research computer into a metal box. 8 years of work, he said sadly. We were so close to understanding how the nebula creates new elements. Maria nodded but said nothing. The orders were clear. All human research must return to Earth space. The Galactic Council had called human science contamination of natural processes. Fine. Let them figure out star formation on their own. In the medical bay, Dr. Jennifer Walsh packed her equipment. The nearby Althari colony had sent sick people here for years. Human medicine could cure diseases that killed aliens quickly. Dr. Walsh had saved thousands of lives from this small outpost. "What about the Althari child with bone cancer?" Dr. Walsh asked. "She needs treatment next week." "Not our problem anymore," Maria said. It hurt to say it, but orders were orders. The Galactic Council wanted humans to stop interfering. So they would stop. Across the galaxy, the same scene played out on hundreds of worlds. On New Geneva Station, Director Paul Johnson supervised the biggest medical evacuation in human history. 47 alien hospitals would lose their human doctors overnight. Dr. Catherine Wells had worked on Trelawney Prime for 6 years. She had created the cure for Helios fever, a disease that killed Trelawney children. Now she packed her research into secure containers while Trelawney doctors watched with worried faces. "Dr. Wells," said Dr. Yethmol, the head Trelawney physician, "can you teach us to make the fever cure before you go?" Catherine looked at the alien doctor she had worked with for years. They had been friends. They had saved lives together. But the Trelawney government had voted to support the new human restrictions. "I am not allowed to share human technology," Catherine said. It was not true, but it made leaving easier. The real reason was simpler. If the Trelawney wanted humans gone, then human knowledge would go too. In the Kepler Nebula, engineer Ryan Clark shut down the massive fusion stations that had powered 6 star systems. The work had taken 20 years to build. The stations pulled clean energy from the nebula gases without hurting anything. Alien environmental groups had called it unnatural extraction. Now those same aliens would have to find new power sources. The old dirty systems they used before would poison their air again. But that was not Ryan's problem anymore. "Should we leave the stations intact?" asked engineer Lisa Parker. "Maybe they can learn to use them." Ryan shook his head. "Take the control systems. Leave the empty shells. If they want power, they can build their own stations. The environmental robots would keep cleaning the nebula for a few more years. Humans did not believe in leaving messes behind. But once the robots broke down, no one would fix them. Captain Susan Turner commanded the last human patrol ship in alien space. The UES Defiant had protected civilian ships from pirates for 5 years. Her crew had saved hundreds of trade vessels from robbery and murder. "Captain," said Lieutenant Dave Brooks, "we are getting distress calls from 3 cargo ships. Pirates are attacking near the vortex belt." Susan looked at the star map. The attacks were happening in alien space, just outside human territory. Before Protocol 7, she would have rushed to help. Now she had different orders. "Log the calls," Susan said, "but do not respond. We are no longer responsible for alien shipping." The bridge fell quiet. Everyone knew that people were dying in those cargo ships. Pirates did not just steal goods. They killed crews and sold survivors as slaves. But the Galactic Council had made it clear that human protection was not wanted. On 1,000 worlds, human workers packed their belongings. Teachers gathered their books and computers. Engineers dismantled machines they had built. Farmers destroyed the special crops that had fed hungry populations. All of it would return to human space. The withdrawal was perfect in its completeness. No human would remain in alien territory. No human goods would cross the border. No human ships would answer alien distress calls. The galaxy had wanted independence from human interference. Now they would have it. Some aliens tried to stop the exodus. On Meridian Colony, the local governor begged Dr. Alan Foster to stay. The human agricultural program had turned a desert world into a garden. Without it, 2 million colonists would starve. "Please," the governor pleaded. "Ignore the council rules. We need you here." Dr. Foster looked at the green fields he had spent 10 years creating. "You voted to support the restrictions," he said quietly. "Your representative called human farming ecological imperialism. This is what you wanted." The last human transport ships left alien space exactly 90 days after Protocol 7 began. They carried millions of humans and everything they had built in alien territory. Behind them, they left empty buildings and confused populations. The galaxy was free of human interference at last. The first sign of trouble came 6 months after the humans left. Trade ships that used to carry goods between star systems stopped running on time. The big cargo vessels that humans had operated were gone. The alien ships that replaced them were smaller, slower, and cost much more to hire. On the trade world of Nexus Prime, Portmaster Veltar watched his busy spaceport turn into an empty field. Before the humans left, hundreds of ships landed here every day. Human cargo haulers brought food, medicine, and manufactured goods from across the galaxy. Now only a few small alien ships came each week. "Where are the grain shipments from Ceres Colony?" asked Minister Dorthak, the planet's food coordinator. His people were getting hungry. "The human ships are not coming anymore," Veltar explained. "The alien ships charge 5 times more money. We cannot afford to buy enough food." Minister Dorthak had been one of the loudest voices calling for human restrictions. He had said humans controlled too much of the galaxy's trade. Now he was learning what that control had really meant. Without human ships, trade between worlds almost stopped completely. The Meridian trade war started 3 weeks later. The Hegemony and the Federation both wanted to control the shipping routes that humans used to manage. Their fleets met near the asteroid belt of Taurus. The battle lasted 6 days and destroyed 47 ships. Thousands of aliens died fighting over routes that humans had kept peaceful for decades. On Rexlos Prime, Governor Yethmar faced a medical crisis. The colony's hospital had depended on human doctors to treat the worst diseases. The alien doctors were good, but they did not know how to cure many illnesses that humans handled easily. Dr. Savina, the head of the hospital, brought bad news to the governor every day. "The Crimson Plague has spread to 5 more cities," she reported. "We need human medicine to stop it." "Can you make the medicine yourself?" the governor asked. "We tried," Dr. Savina said, "but we do not understand how human drugs work. We need their knowledge." Governor Yethmar remembered voting to restrict human medical programs. He had called them biological imperialism. The humans had warned that removing their doctors would cause epidemics. He had not believed them. Now the plague was killing 1,000 people every day. Commander Ben Walsh sat in a human listening post just outside alien space. His job was to monitor communications from the old territories. Every day he heard more distress calls. "Emergency on Trader Route 7, came one message. "Pirates have taken 4 cargo ships. Need immediate military help." "Medical emergency on Kalos 4, said another. Unknown disease spreading, request human doctors. Food shortage on 17 colonies, reported a third voice. Civilian population starving, need emergency supplies. Ben recorded every message, but could not respond. The humans had protected all these places before. Human patrol ships had kept pirates away. Human doctors had stopped diseases before they spread. Human cargo ships had carried food to hungry worlds. Now all of that was gone. Admiral Nick Parker watched the Draconian Empire expand into the Outer Rim. The Draconians were a warrior race that humans had kept in check through peace treaties and military deterrence. Without human forces to stop them, the Draconians were conquering small, peaceful worlds. The gentle folk of Harmony 7 sent desperate messages asking for help. Their world had no weapons and no army. They had lived safely for centuries because humans protected them. Now Draconian warships surrounded their planet. "Can we help them?" asked Colonel Amy Stewart, Nick's second in command. "Orders are clear," Nick replied. "No interference in alien affairs. The galaxy wanted us gone." He watched the Draconian ships land on Harmony 7. The gentlefolk would become slaves or die. Before Protocol 7, one human destroyer could have saved them. Now, they would face extinction alone. Agricultural worlds across the galaxy began to fail. Human farming techniques had increased food production by 400% on many planets. Human genetic crops could grow in bad soil and survive harsh weather. Without human knowledge, billions of people faced starvation. On New Eden, farming chief Takra watched his crops die. The special wheat that humans had developed could feed 50 million people from small farms, but the wheat needed specific nutrients that only human scientists knew how to make. "We saved some human fertilizer," reported agricultural technician Pelmon. "But it will only last 2 more months. After that?" Takra asked. "After that, we starve." The Galactic Council tried to pretend everything was normal, but panic was growing. Trade had dropped by 60%. Medical emergencies increased every day. Wars broke out in regions that had been peaceful for decades. The hyperspace gates that connected distant systems began to fail without human maintenance. Counselor Vorthak of the hegemony finally spoke the truth that everyone was thinking. "We made a mistake," he told the emergency council session. "The humans were not interfering with us. They were holding civilization together." "It is too late for regrets," replied Counselor Zethkai, though he sounded less sure than before. "We cannot appear weak by asking them to return." But privately, many council members were already trying to contact human leaders. All their messages went unanswered. The humans had simply vanished beyond the edge of known space. On Earth, President Diana Hayes read the daily intelligence reports. The alien worlds were collapsing exactly as human analysts had predicted. Disease, famine, war, and economic failure spread across the galaxy like wildfire. "Some of the council members are asking for help," reported Intelligence Chief Robert Chen. "They want to negotiate." "What should we tell them?" asked Secretary of State Karen Johnson. Diana looked out the window at the peaceful Earth sky. For the first time in decades, humans were free to live their own lives without alien criticism. New colonies were being built in unexplored space. Human technology was advancing without artificial restrictions. "Tell them nothing," Diana said. "They made their choice. Now they can live with it." The galaxy was learning what it really meant to be free of human interference. 1 year after the humans left, the Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. The great hall that had once been filled with confident alien leaders now held only desperate voices and empty seats. 12 species had already gone extinct. Others were too busy fighting wars or plagues to send representatives. Council Secretary Zarathul stood at the central podium with a stack of reports. Her crystal body, usually bright blue, had faded to a dull gray color that meant deep sadness among her people. "The economic data is clear," she announced to the half-empty hall. "Galaxy-wide production has dropped by 60%. Trade volume is down 75%. Medical emergencies have increased by 300%. The numbers were worse than anyone had expected. Without human ships, goods could not move between star systems. Without human doctors, simple diseases became deadly plagues. Without human peacekeepers, old enemies went to war. Counselor Yethvar of the Kethvar people spoke first. His snake-like body was covered in red spots from the genetic plague that was killing his species. "We need human medical help," he said, weakly. "The plague has spread to all our worlds. Our doctors cannot stop it." This was the same plague that humans had wanted to cure 3 years earlier. The council had called it interference and passed laws to stop human doctors from helping. Now the Kethvar were dying by the millions. The humans left detailed medical records, suggested Dr. Peltara, one of the few alien doctors who had worked with human medical teams. "Maybe we can learn from their research." "We tried," Yethvar replied. "Human medicine is too complex. We need their scientists to explain it to us." In another part of the galaxy, the hyperspace gates that connected distant systems were breaking down. These ancient machines had worked for thousands of years, but they needed constant maintenance. Only human engineers had understood how to fix them properly. Chief Engineer Tony Martinez had led the teams that kept the gates working. Without his knowledge, 3 major gates had already failed completely. Entire sectors were cut off from the rest of civilization. "Can we repair Gate 7 ourselves?" asked Technical Counselor Mordeth. "We have been trying for 6 months," replied Gate Technician Veltar. "We cannot understand the quantum mechanisms. The gate systems are beyond our technology." The failed gates meant that 12 star systems could no longer receive food, medicine, or trade goods. Billions of people were trapped on dying worlds, with no way to escape. Dr. Rachel Murphy's research had saved 6 different species from extinction. She had developed genetic therapies that helped aliens adapt to environmental changes on their homeworld. Without her ongoing work, those species were dying again. The Trelawney Council sent a desperate message to the Galactic Council. "Our children are dying from Helios fever again," they reported. "The human cure stopped working. We need Dr. Murphy to fix the treatment." But Dr. Murphy was back on Earth working on human projects. She had tried to help the Trelawney for years, only to be called a genetic imperialist who was corrupting natural evolution. Now her former patients were paying the price for that short-sighted thinking. Economic analyst Gary Thompson had worked for the Council before joining the human exodus. His final report, sealed in the Council archives, predicted exactly what was happening. He had warned that human trade routes generated 23% of the galaxy's total economic activity. Thompson was right, admitted Economic Minister Darseth, reading the old report. "We thought we could replace human efficiency with our own systems. We were wrong." The manufacturing centers that had depended on human precision engineering were shutting down. Alien workers could not maintain the complex machines that humans had built. Quality control that humans had perfected over decades fell apart in months. Military conflicts were spreading across the galaxy. The human peacekeeping fleets had prevented wars through deterrence and negotiation. Without that stabilizing force, old grudges turned into open warfare. The Draconian Empire had conquered 6 peaceful worlds in the past year. The Void Hunters were raiding trade routes that humans used to protect. Piracy had increased by 500% in regions where human patrol ships used to keep order, Commander. Jennifer Cole had written classified reports about galactic security for the Council Military Committee. She had warned that removing human forces would lead to immediate conflicts in 12 different regions. "Cole predicted this too," said Military Advisor Kath Allen, reviewing her old files. "She said the Outer Rim would collapse into chaos without human protection." She was completely correct. The refugee crisis was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Billions of people were fleeing from war zones, plague worlds, and starving colonies. But there was nowhere safe to go. The human refugee camps that had housed displaced populations were gone. On Sanctuary Station, Refugee Coordinator Melterra faced an impossible situation. The station was built to hold 50,000 people temporarily. Now it had 500,000 refugees with no place to go and no resources to care for them. The humans used to transport refugees to safe worlds, Meltara reported to the Council. They had ships, supplies, and empty colonies ready for settlement. We have none of that. The Council tried everything they could think of. They sent diplomatic messages to human territory, offering trade deals and political concessions. They broadcasted apologies on emergency frequencies. Some Council members even traveled to the edge of human space, begging to speak with human leaders. All their efforts met the same response: silence. The humans had vanished completely. Their ships did not cross into alien space. Their communication networks did not respond to outside signals. It was as if humanity had simply erased itself from galactic civilization. Perhaps we should send a larger diplomatic mission, suggested Counselor Zethkai, though he sounded less confident than in the past. Show them we are serious about making peace. We tried that, replied Ambassador Yorthel. I led a fleet of 12 ships to the human border. They would not even acknowledge our presence. We waited for 3 weeks. Nothing. The truth was becoming clear to everyone, even the most stubborn council members. The humans were not coming back. They had walked away from galactic civilization completely, taking their knowledge, their technology, and their stabilizing influence with them. In the emergency session, Counselor Vorthok finally spoke the words that everyone was thinking. We destroyed the galaxy by trying to control the humans. They were never the problem. We were. The hall fell silent. Outside the council chambers, the galaxy continued its slide toward collapse, and somewhere beyond the edge of known space, humanity was building a new future without them. 2 years had passed since the humans walked away. The Galactic Council met in a chamber that was mostly empty now. Half the member species were extinct. Others were too busy fighting for survival to send representatives. The grand experiment of galactic civilization was dying. Former Counselor Yethmar stood at the speaker's podium, but he was not the same proud leader who had once demanded human restrictions. Disease had ravaged his body. His people were nearly extinct. His voice was barely a whisper in the vast hall. We called them meddlers, he said to the few remaining delegates. We said they interfered too much. We accused them of trying to control us, but we were blind to the truth. The truth was painful to admit. Humans had not been controlling the galaxy. They had been holding it together. Every human action that the Council had called interference had actually been keeping civilization alive. They were not disrupting the natural order, Yethmar continued. They were the natural order. They were what made peace possible. They were what made survival possible. Captain Steve Rogers sat in the human monitoring station at the edge of their territory. Every day his equipment picked up thousands of distress calls from alien space, pleas for medical help, requests for food and supplies, desperate diplomatic messages begging humans to return. All of these calls went into a file marked Alien Communications and were never answered. The withdrawal protocol was absolute. Humans would not respond to any request from the species that had rejected them. Captain, said Communications Officer Linda Hayes, we are receiving another formal apology from the Galactic Council. They are offering full diplomatic immunity and unlimited trade rights if we return. Steve looked at the message briefly, then deleted it like all the others. File the standard response, he said. The standard response was silence. The galaxy had wanted humans gone, so they were gone. Forever. The final report on the collapse was written by Council historian Nethvara, one of the last surviving members of her species. She called it the Catalogue of Consequences, and it told the complete story of what happened when the galaxy rejected human help. The numbers were staggering. 37 billion beings had died from preventable causes in 2 years. Wars that humans had prevented were now killing millions. Diseases that human doctors could cure were wiping out entire worlds. Famines that human agriculture could have stopped were starving whole populations. 8 complete species had gone extinct. The Idab, gentle folk of Harmony 7, were enslaved by the Draconians. The Kethavar had been reduced from billions to thousands by genetic plague. The crystal singers of Nexus Prime had died when their artificial atmosphere failed without human maintenance. The interstellar trade network had collapsed completely. Worlds that had depended on imported food were starving. Medical supplies could not reach planets that needed them. The manufacturing systems that had produced everything from clothing to starships had shut down. Piracy and slavery had returned to levels not seen in 1,000 years. Without human patrol fleets to maintain order, criminals operated freely across the galaxy. The Void Hunters alone had captured 3 million people to sell as slaves. On distant Earth, President Diana Hayes reviewed the intelligence reports from alien space. The collapse was even worse than human analysts had predicted. The aliens had managed to destroy in 2 years what had taken centuries to build. The Council is sending daily messages now, reported Intelligence Director Robert Chen. They are offering us anything we want. Complete control of trade routes, seats on the Supreme Council, even territorial concessions. Diana read through the latest offers. The aliens were desperate enough to give humans everything they had once refused to share, but it was too late for deals and compromises. What do our people think? Diana asked. Do any of them want to go back? Secretary of State Karen Johnson shook her head. The surveys are clear. 97% of humans support the withdrawal protocol. They do not want to return to being criticized for every act of kindness. The human exodus had been a blessing in disguise. Freed from alien restrictions, human technology had advanced faster than ever before. New colonies were thriving in unexplored regions of space. For the first time in decades, humans could help each other without having to justify their actions to alien judges. Dr. Catherine Wells, who had once cured Helios fever for the Trilani, now worked on human genetic diseases. Her research was advancing rapidly without the Council's bioethics committees blocking every experiment. Engineer Ryan Clark, who had built clean energy systems for alien worlds, now designed fusion plants for human colonies. His work was not slowed by environmental groups that called technology unnatural. Admiral Peter Hayes, who had organized the withdrawal, now commanded the human deep space fleet. They were exploring regions of the galaxy that no one had ever seen before. New worlds, new resources, new possibilities opened up every day. The message from the Council came on a Tuesday morning. It was different from all the others because it was completely honest about what had happened. We were wrong, it said simply. We destroyed our own civilization through arrogance and fear. We blamed you for our weaknesses. We punished you for our failures. Please come back, the galaxy is dying without you. Admiral Chris Thompson, who now headed Earth's Interstellar Relations Committee, read the message to the Human Leadership Council. The room was quiet for a long moment. They finally admit the truth, said President Hayes, but admission is not enough. The vote was unanimous. The message would be filed with all the others and forgotten. Some mistakes were too big to forgive. The aliens had not just rejected human help. They had made it illegal. They had called human kindness a crime and human compassion a threat. We gave them everything, President Hayes said to her advisors. Our medicine, our technology, our protection, our lives. In return, they gave us contempt and restrictions. Now they want us to forget that and come back as if nothing happened. Through the windows of the presidential palace, she could see the lights of New Geneva, humanity's newest colony city. Human children played in parks built by human engineers. Human doctors worked in hospitals that served only humans. Human teachers educated human students without alien oversight telling them what they could and could not learn. The age of human patience is over, President Hayes declared. We tried to be part of their civilization for 50 years. We were never truly welcome. Now we will build our own civilization, without them. Outside the Sol system, the galaxy continued, its descent into darkness and chaos. Entire sectors had gone silent as their communication systems failed. Ancient trade routes that had connected civilizations for millennia lay empty and abandoned. The humans had walked away quietly, taking nothing that was not theirs, but leaving nothing behind that others could use. The galaxy had demanded independence from human interference. Now they had it completely and forever. The Council faced its shame in empty chambers while their worlds died around them. They had learned too late that some gifts, once rejected, could never be offered again. Humanity looked forward to the stars and never looked back.